Hey there. It's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Is Nikola Tesla actually from Venus? Before you keep scrolling, let me explain. I got a few of these comments on my viral Tesla video that said there's documents from the FBI/CIA that say this man is actually from Venus. So I looked into it. Here's what I found. There is actually a 64-page document on the FBI website that looks into Tesla, and it actually cites someone saying that he's from Venus. I know what you're thinking. I was thinking the same thing. Margaret Storm was writing his biography, and she's cited in this document as saying, the space people have visited the Tesla engineers many times and have told us that Tesla was a Venetian from Venus. He was brought to this planet as a baby in 1856 and left with Mr. and Mrs. Tesla in a remote mountain province in what is now Yugoslavia. Now, do I believe this? I don't know. Is it interesting? Yes. Am I going to do a part 2 diving more into this? Also, yes. Go check it out.
So it was just someone saying that they think that he was. It wasn't like saying, oh, yeah, he's actually from Venus, but they had it in an FBI classified document. So it's not that he actually was. Someone stated it, so they had to document it, and it's finally been released. But just a little silly, really. Hey, thanks for stopping by. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, please let me know down in the comments below and I'll do my best to get it in an upcoming video. If you're having a good time, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. Come back tomorrow because I'm making a new video every day.
Breaking news is not only did O.J. Simpson recently pass from cancer, but his whole team, and it's one big conspiracy. What is happening and what is going on? Guys, make sure and click the plus sign. I'm going to have more on this you don't want to miss. Sound off in the comments and tell me what you think. But if you've been following, you know that O.J. Simpson just passed at 76 years old from cancer. However, check out all the other people who also passed from cancer. This was O.J. Simpson's defense team, and they dubbed this in the media the dream team, the team that got him off. However, all of these people have died from cancer. We have Cochran, we have Rob Kardashian, Francis Bailey, Rob Shapiro, and now we have O.J. Simpson. And it's left a lot of people to wonder, why did they all go from cancer? And what is happening? Now, they all went at different times, but it's interesting that they all went of the exact same thing. And a lot of people are wondering, is this karma? Are there more nefarious things going on? I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me your thoughts. Sound off in the comments and click the plus sign. I've got more coming.
Since this is all the buzz right now, I figured we'd take a look at it. I thought it was very interesting how they all seem to go in the same manner from cancer, like O.J. Simpson just did. And they all had worked so hard to get him acquitted. So I had to look it up. Apparently, Johnny Cochran, yes, he did pass away of a malignant golf ball sized brain tumor. Rob Kardashian, yes, esophageal cancer. Mr. F. Lee Bailey, his diagnosis was actually unspecified, and it was just recently. I think it was in 21. And Robert Shapiro is still alive, so like halfway right.
Have you ever had one of those nights where you go to bed but wake up after a few hours and can't get back to sleep? While it might not seem like it today, that was actually the normal sleeping pattern in the medieval period and before. Instead of sleeping through the night like we do now, people in the medieval era and other pre-industrial societies slept in two phases, also called biphasic or segmented sleep. People would go to bed really early because nighttime was generally unsafe, so they'd sleep for a few hours, then wake up, usually between 11 p.m. to 1 or 2 a.m. for what they called watch or vigil. They'd use the time for activities like reading, praying, or even socializing, and then go back to bed for what was called second sleep. So what changed? Well, the Industrial Revolution shifted daily schedules. For example, you'd have factory workers who worked all night. Also, artificial lighting transformed our relationship with the night, giving us more time for activities after nightfall.
This sleep pattern change has only been in place for a couple hundred years, and it hasn't really had an opportunity to evolve out of who we are. So that's why sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you're just like, I can't get back to sleep. Eventually, over time, future generations, if we continue going in this manner, they will evolve to not wake up anymore in the middle of the night. But that's why that happens.
Let's talk about the Joe Rogan guest who was caught with a body in his freezer not even a month after appearing on the show. If you haven't heard of the Joe Rogan Experience, it's one of the most popular podcasts in the world. Every episode, Joe Rogan invites someone different on the show, and that's kind of what keeps it fresh and entertaining. Well, a couple months ago, Joe Rogan invites a man named Sheldon Johnson to be a guest. In 1999, Sheldon Johnson was sentenced to 50 years in prison for an armed robbery involving a firearm. However, he was released on May 4th of this year after only serving 25 years. He became a figure of prison rehabilitation and being able to turn your life around for the better, or at least that's what people thought. This is Colin Small, one of Johnson's childhood friends. They grew up together in Harlem and they got involved in crime together at a young age. They even served their time together at the same prison. At around 1 a.m. on March 5th, the police would get a call from Small's neighbors saying that they heard yelling from inside the house followed by multiple shots. When the police get to Small's house, it's empty, but they start searching around, and sitting inside the freezer is Small's dismembered torso. Small lived in an apartment building, and when they check the security cameras on his floor, they see a man who looks just like Sheldon Johnson entering and exiting his apartment 6 different times in multiple different disguises. Inside that blue bin are more of Small's remains. Police also found Small's car parked near Johnson's apartment complex, and he was soon arrested. Johnson is currently awaiting trial and being held without bail.
That's absolutely intriguing. He was an advocate for jail reform. So like, oh yeah, I did my time and I'm a better person and here's why. And then he goes and offs his buddy. Like must have been some serious pent up rage or something big must have happened, or maybe he just wasn't reformed and he couldn't control himself. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that Joe Rogan Experience episode because that sounds interesting. I wonder how big of an advocate he was at that time, and then like a month later, it's turned around. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that there was an issue with my sound for the rest of the video, so hopefully you're able to hear me just fine beyond this point. I had to tweak it a little bit to kind of make it sound like it was working.
This boy claimed he remembered his past life until his parents discovered he wasn't lying. A Syrian boy named Arias was born with a particular red birthmark across his forehead. He got bullied at school, and other kids chose to bully him because of his disabilities and made fun of his birthmark every day. However, as he grew up, as soon as he could speak, he explained to his parents that he had already lived a past life as another man, claiming he was with an axe by his own neighbor. It turns out a man in their village had gone missing years earlier and the neighbor was the prime suspect. So Arias and his parents went to the neighbor's house to find out the truth. When the neighbor opened the door, he turned white as a ghost claiming he was innocent, but Arias demanded the neighbor to come with them, as he knew where his own body was buried. Arias led them miles from the village to a specific spot under a tree, and they started digging, but you won't believe what they found underneath was far worse than anything they could have imagined. Press the plus button and comment birthmark for part 2.
That's kind of creepy, right? To remember where your body is from your past life. I don't believe in reincarnation. I don't not believe in it also for the simple fact that it hasn't been disproven, and it really can't be disproven. But I think that's a heck of a story. That poor kid to live with that trauma. Let me know, do you believe in reincarnation, or do you think this story was just made up?
Then they wanted to use me for something called Project Camelot. Well, there was a bunch of kids there, candidates for it. This is a real slimy plan to manufacture a messiah-like figure to lead the Earth through a cataclysmic catastrophe. They were going to have someone attempt to control the population by talking them through a big catastrophe. They were planning on leading people into underground bases and messing them up, depopulating and stuff. I could never do something like that, to see the world play with people's religion and things. In the past, I agreed to do their whole play Jesus thing, but it was a deception on my part because I just wanted to get unmemory repressed so I could tell the world. For years, I acted loyal to them. I even had to almost give myself Stockholm Syndrome to make myself believe that I liked them because my family members were there. After years of playing friends with them, they told me everything. And then I was a member. I was never a member. I was always trying to deceive them until the day I could destroy them.
Every time I look up Project Camelot, I get something different. Like there was one that was like alien gene splicing, and then there was another one that was making superhumans, and now this one is to make Messiah. Someone who is just going to like preach to the people that everybody will follow. It would be extremely difficult because there are so many different branches of religions, and you can't do it all. Maybe they were trying to make the Messiah that is going to save everybody when they have the fake alien invasion this year. Maybe that's what they were doing. But still, I'm getting all kinds of mixed signals when I pull up Project Camelot. If you know of anything else, let me know. I like to know all of the different avenues of everything. It's fun.
Everything seems pretty normal up until this point. You'll see some pictures here in a moment, but then about here, things get a little strange. So now we're going to go through a series of pictures where you see the little girl have a range of emotions, and then right about here she sees something wrong as he pulls away. What does she see? Well, we're all about to see it for ourselves as he stands up and looks at the camera right here. What's weird is somehow the guy holding the microphone misses this part, but here very soon he's going to notice something that is amiss. I think that'll be right about here. And he looks a little... I think that'll be right about here. And he looks a little disturbed. After seeing this, he quickly walks away, and then acts like nothing ever happened. Look at his face. Yikes. You also see a couple of Elvis's men seeing everything as it happens. One of them steps in front of the camera. The other man goes directly for the eye that was just melting. Here we go again, in real time. See Elvis's guy step in front of the camera right here? Then the other guy goes right for the eye.
That was pretty weird. I heard some theories that Elvis was an alien, but I didn't think he was reptilian. And a lot of those images are also the same as we're seeing these days with our digital photos, and they're saying that they're demons. So maybe he wasn't reptilian. Maybe he was a demon because he sold his soul to the devil or something like that, right? It's crazy that the cameras, back then were catching the same thing that we're catching these days. So unless it's not demons now and it's reptilians straight across the board. There's so many theories. There is just, I don't know. It obviously isn't AI, right? Like we thought with the Sofia Vergara picture the other day. So what could it possibly be? Is it reptilians or is it demons? You vote. What team are you on? Are you team reptilian or are you team demon?
Alright guys, I'm back with another The Truth Behind This Disturbing Image. And this is the tragic story of Rhoda Derry. So Rhoda Derry was born on October 10th, 1834 in a place called Adams County, Illinois. When she was just a teenager, she ended up falling in love with her next door neighbor who happened to be the son of a farmer. However, as soon as the boy's mother found out that Rhoda and her son were interested in each other, she immediately wanted to stop this at all costs. The problem was that Rhoda Derry and her family's last name were rumored to be associated with witchcraft. It's also said that Rhoda's mother knew about the witchcraft stories, so she decided to move far away from her own mother in order to get a new start. It's said that she had told Rhoda all about the witchcraft stories, and this ended up sparking a lot of fear within Rhoda about witches. So when the mother of the boy next door approached Rhoda and told her to stay away from him, it absolutely terrified her because this woman also told her that if she didn't listen, that she would put a curse on her. This was said to have been the beginning of Rhoda's downward spiral because soon after she started developing intense paranoia of witches. She also said that she heard a lot of voices, and she said that she claimed to see an entity or some sort of demonic presence called Old Scratch. As Rhoda was having a lot of mental health problems, her family didn't know what else to do, so they decided to send her to the Jacksonville Mental Hospital. Unfortunately, they told her family that she was incurable, so they basically just sent her home and told them to deal with her. With no other choice at this point, her parents ended up sending her to a place called an almshouse in Adams County, which is basically another form of a mental hospital that takes in patients that are not accepted by the actual mental hospital. However, at this place, it was said that Rhoda completely deteriorated. She became extremely aggressive and violent towards other people, and she even said that she claimed to see Old Scratch quite a lot. It got to the point where she couldn't tolerate seeing Old Scratch anymore, so she ended up gouging her own eyes out. But that wasn't even the worst part. The medical staff ended up putting her in a box similar to this one here, where she would stay for the next 40 years, and on top of that, they also covered it with a huge tarp, so she barely had any sunlight. And because the box had all of these holes here, they basically just left her there, and her excrements could basically just fall from the box to the ground. This is what Rhoda ended up looking like towards the end of her stay at the Alms house. She wasn't eating, she completely deteriorated. Her legs were basically stuck in this position because she had been forced to stay in that cage for so long. And at one point, she even stopped talking and punched her mouth so hard that she knocked her own teeth out. Then in 1904, she was sent to another hospital where it was finally exposed what she had been enduring. Rhoda would go on to live until she was 72 years old before she passed away in 1906.
What an absolutely awful story. It's good to know that we've made such advancements in modern medicine that individuals who suffer from, these mental ailments are able to seek proper help rather than just being sent away and confined into little boxes. And even individuals who were born with developmental disabilities are able to get better care and be taken care of rather than just pushed aside. It's unfortunate that people did have to endure such horrible treatment, and we finally, got to a point where we realized it's unacceptable to do this to human beings. On that note, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've had a wonderful time. I know I did, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.